Welcome back to my channel for another Leica episode. And in this episode, I will provide a tutorial on how to use user profiles for the Leica M EV1. And user profiles, in my opinion, are one of the most underrated features in the Leica camera world. That's why I think it's good to provide a tutorial. I did a similar tutorial some time back for the Leica Deluxe 8, but the Deluxe 8 cannot export user profiles, and this camera can. And that's a big advantage because it means if you have stored it on your SD card, no matter what happens to the camera, no matter if you have a hard reset, whatever it is, you can import them again and benefit from settings which you did once and for all. And that's pretty cool, of course. You will learn in this tutorial how it works. Let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, share and like my videos. It's for free for you. For me, it means the world. Many thanks for that. All right, user profiles. Let's switch the camera on. And first of all, let's check the firmware so that we are all on the same page. Currently, the newest firmware is drums and whistles. Let's go to camera information 2.6.0. I just installed it and it worked like a charm. No problems. You can always update your firmware very easily on this camera. And user profiles are actually on page number 4. And here it's the second menu entry. And in order to show you really how this works, I will, for the repeated time, completely reset my camera. Yes, guys, that's what I'm doing for you. I will again reset my camera like I did for my very recent initial setup tutorial, which just went live not too long ago. So let's do a hard reset. Let's go to the next page, reset camera. Let's go here to yes, we reset the camera. Do you want to reset user profiles? Yes, because we set them up from scratch again. Do you want to export? No. Do you want to reset the Leica photo settings? Yes, everything fresh, but never. I want to reset the image numbering because if I don't do it, I have a really good indication of my overall shutter count on this camera. So that's the way it works. So we press here no, and now we need to switch the camera off. Wait for a couple of seconds, and if we switch it on again, we can for a moment lean back and enjoy this beautiful animation, which, by the way, has a certain emphasis on the electronic viewfinder, which is the outstanding feature of that particular M system camera here. So let's switch it on. Let's have a look. The animation should kick off. Here we go. Here you see the viewfinder. You see it. That's what's emphasized here. And then we are done with the animation. So let's quickly do the initial setup. English, connection to Photos app later, time zone is correct. Daylight saving time is off at this point in time. We are too late in the year. So we keep this. Day month year is fine. It's the 27th of October 2025. At least the camera remembers that. We confirm this. 24 hours is fine. And we have currently 2040 actually. Checking on my Leica wristwatch. So let's go to 40 here and we are in live view and can kick this off. What I also want to do is I want to quickly change the power savings settings so that the camera is not all the time switching off the display. So we go here to camera settings. This is here, the very last bottom entry. And then the power saving mode. I want to have a camera standby never for this tutorial. And yeah, that will increase power consumption, I know. And display standby, we put to the maximum value, which is 5 minutes. All right, so far so good. Now user profiles is here. Let's go up and let's start to set this up. We have here a default profile, and the default profile is whatever is currently stored in the camera. Let's check it. Let's have a look. Let's go to the control screen. And here you see, for instance, we are on DNG. We have large DNG. We have here multi-field and so on. Certain things are set up here, and that's currently in the default profile. Now, the first question is, how many profiles can we set up? And in user profiles, we see we have the default profile that's active. And then we have user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 profiles can be set up here in the menu. And that's pretty cool. Manage profiles is something I'm going to cover, of course, in the course of the video. Let's first understand what a default profile is. A default profile sounds to me like something you can always return to. And that's actually true for the Leica M EV1. Not necessarily true for all Leica cameras, but for the M EV1 and the M11 and M11-P, that's true. So let's illustrate this. Let's go here into the control screen and let's change certain things. And let's say here on DNG, we want to go to DNG and JPEG. Just one change, okay? And this is now here. If I switch off the camera and switch it on again, it will not change that. It will remember it. So let's go back. Let's switch it on. Should take me directly into live view. If I go to the control screen, it's still JPEG and DNG, which is good, right? Because you don't want to change settings again all the time because you just switched off your camera. But watch what happens if I go back to user profiles. Let's say I changed a lot of settings in the camera and got lost and want to return to the settings the camera had when it was freshly taken out of box. So I go to user profiles and you see here is no longer active. If I want to switch back to the settings I had from the very beginning when I for the very first time switched on this camera, I push the center button and then you will see here an active. Watch. First of all, let's confirm again here in the control screen. Sorry, I was too quick. JPEG and DNG is set up here. Let's go back to user profiles and let's activate the default profile by the center button push. Boom. Now it's active. Let's go back to the control screen and now you see JPEG and DNG is gone. It's back to DNG. Let's try this again with a few more settings just to get a feeling how this works. Let's go here to DNG and JPEG again. Let's go here from multi-field to center weighted. Then we have two settings changed. And let's go here on, let's say, auto white balance to daylight. So I changed three settings now. I can shoot with the camera in these settings. I can switch it off. I can also switch it on again and the settings will be preserved because that's the way I wanted obviously to operate my camera. You see here JPEG, DNG, here I'm on center weighted and auto white balance is gone and I'm on daylight. But watch what happens now if, as we did just a moment ago, we go back here and activate now the default profile. Currently it's not activated because we made those changes. Now let's activate it and then everything will be set back to the original values. DNG, we have here multi-field, and we have here again auto white balance. You get it? That's why it is called the default profile. Whatever you change in the camera will be preserved as long as you don't go into user profiles and with the center button push, activate the default profile. Now it's active and we are back to settings as if the camera would be taken freshly out of box. So there's an important takeaway from this little exercise we just did, namely that the default profile is what it is. It cannot be changed. These are the settings Leica has hard-coded in the firmware, and whenever we activate the default profile, we get back to the settings as if the camera would be freshly out of box. Let's now make some changes to settings and let's store them in user profile number 1. So let's go back here into the menu and let's change a few of these settings here. First of all, I think here we are fine. Lens detection, auto drive mode, we leave all that. Exposure metering, I want to have now to center weighted. I want to have on auto ISO settings here 12,500 as I showed in my initial setup video. I want to have here 1/2 times the focal length. Then we go back. I want to have on file format DNG and JPEG. I want to have here on auto review permanent. And I think that's it. Let's keep it in that way for the time being. It's not, again, a complete setup tutorial, which I already posted. It's about user profiles. So let's go to user profiles. And you can now here under user profiles, not just center button push the user one. You need to go to this menu entry here, which is called manage profiles. And now here I can say save as profile, the changes I just did, the deviations from the default profile to user number 1, which is unused. 6 of them are currently unused. And I say save as profile 1. Yes. I can also rename it, and that's convenient. For instance, in some cameras and some tutorials I provided in the last years, you can on some systems not rename them, and that's just inconvenient. Here you can. Let's say we call this now profile math. Let's go away from capital letters M, A, T, and H. Let's confirm this here with the checkbox symbol. Boom. And now it's math. You see it here. It's no longer user 1. And you see if I go here back, I have now 2 profiles. I have the Leica imposed default profile, and math as profile number 1 is active. And in the control screen, I see some of these changes. Here's no longer DNG, but JPEG DNG. Here we have center weighted, not multi-field, and so on and so on. It also has in the menu preserved, for instance, the ISO settings. If you look here, it's 12,500 and all of that. Now, the moment in time I switch back to the default profile, my settings will be overwritten again, but I can recall them. And let's do this. I can also do it, by the way, here on the touch screen in the control center. I go from math now to the default profile. And the moment in time this happens, I'm here on DNG again. I'm again on multi-field, and I'm back to all these settings which Leica imposed as the standard settings in the firmware of the camera. Also on auto ISO, for instance, I'm now back from 12,500, which I installed for the math profile, to a lower number of ISO 3200, as you see here. And here I'm also back to 1/4 times the focal length, where I set up before 1/2 times the focal length. Now, recalling my own personal settings is very simple. Tap and go to math. This is it. You see now JPEG DNG. Now here I'm on center weighted again, and also my auto ISO setting is back to 12,500. Simple like that. So I think you get the point. This is very convenient, very easy to store settings which are important for me for different shooting situations. All right, so far so good. Don't be worried, I will not set up 6 different user profiles for 6 different shooting situations, but I want to do one more and want to store it under user profile 2. And let's create a case here, a storyline. Let's say I'm shooting for a client who needs low resolution images because it's only for web or for a magazine. And let's say for this, I want to deviate from profile math. I want to keep everything, but I want to change the resolution. So let's go here to page number 2. And let's say we take a DNG resolution here of only 18 megapixel. And we do the same for the JPEG settings. As I said in my initial setup tutorial for the camera, JPEG is for me only a convenient way to preview before I finally work on the RAW file. But we should keep this in sync. So let's go to SJPEG here. And let's store this now as user profile number 2. Let's go here back to user profile. And let's say this is now profile number 2. And we can say save as profile again. We go to user 2, it's unused. The first one is used by math. And let's save it as profile number 2. Let's also rename it, and let's give it a name that is meaningful because these are lower resolution pictures. Let's say we call this here web. Let's go back here. Let's have a W, and then let's have a capital W here. So, and then let's have E and B for web. Let's confirm this. Boom. And now we have another profile here. That's profile number 2. And if I go back here, I see which profile is active. And since this was the last settings I actually conducted on the camera, the web profile is active. In the same way as before, I can now go here into my menu and can change here. I can go back to the default profile. And boom, you are back on these settings which you now know by heart. Or I can go back to math. This is profile number 1. And then you see here I'm on LDNG and LJPEG. And if I have the web mandate, I go back to 2. And now I'm on SDNG, on SDNG and SJPEG. So that's the way it works. Now let's conclude the video by a few more features we have here. And let's say now I'm in user profile and I have these 3, the default profile, Leica imposed, math, my setup, and then we have web with low resolution. Let's go to manage profiles. We can not only save and rename, we can also export them. And that's what I want to do now. I want to export the user profiles I set up, all of them, which is 2 plus the default profile, to the SD card. Let's say yes. And then it says export successful. And now, my dear friends, I will, for the repeated time, hard reset the camera again. So let's do this. Let's go here on page number 5. Let's say we reset the camera, and let's say we reset all camera settings. Yes. Do you want to reset user profiles? Yes. Do you want to export user profiles to card? Actually, we did this already, but you better know for sure, right? So let's say yes here again. Do you want to reset Leica photo settings? Yes. Do you want to reset image numbering? Never, as I outlined before. And now we can restart the camera and cross fingers that it finds the profiles I just set up, namely math and web, the 2 user profiles on the SD card. So let's get back. We will see this animation once more. I hope you're not getting bored by it. It's a very quick animation, but it's also a beautiful animation. Let's go through the initial setup here. Let's choose the language, which is English. No Leica Photos app. This is fine. Daylight saving time is off. This is all good. It remembers the time and the date, and we are back in live view. And now if you look here, I have the default profile and I deleted all profiles. You see? So there is no math and there is no web. And now we import them again from the SD card. And that's the ingenious concept on these particular Leica cameras. In the M system, you can actually get everything back you set up before, which is not working, for instance, for the Leica Deluxe 8, unfortunately. So let's go into page number 4. Let's go to user profiles. Let's go, you see here, there's only one active profile. That's a default profile. Math is gone and web is gone. Let's go here down to manage profiles and let's say import profiles. Import profiles, yes, boom, going back. And here we have them in all of their beauty, math and web. Let's quickly check that these are the correct profiles. Let's set the default profile active, which is the out-of-box settings, Leica in post. You see DNG, we have here multi-field, all of that. Let's do the quick change here to math. Boom. And then we have JPEG DNG and we have here center weighted. And we should also see this in the auto ISO settings. As one example, it's 12,500. And this is all fine. Let's check for the web profile, just for the sake of completeness. And then we should switch here now to SDNG and SJPEG. And that's it. And don't tell me that this is not a highly underrated feature. It's an ingenious concept, but I fear not many people use it. I hope you know how to use it for your own benefit. And you actually set these type of cameras up once and for all. Because if you're smart, you store all your setup up to 6 different user profiles, as we saw in the menu, to the SD card, and you will never lose again your settings. You might want to have another setting here, for instance, for having the camera on a tripod with a self timer, and then you can always use that profile and you will always have the self timer immediately set up. All these type of things. Pretty cool. I hope you liked it. If you liked that video, don't forget to drop me a thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. And of course, peace out.